Hello, hello. So I am live and we are live. Let me test. My camera. Yes, we are live. We are live. I'm a bit like late, but I am chocolate and I'm really happy to check if we are audible. So let me just go to the practical details. And then I'm going also to welcome pretty soon my partner. Hopefully, he will join. Else, we are going to talk about the book of Les Ryan Johnson. And I have it live. So, yes, we are live on YouTube. And I don't know if we are on LinkedIn because there is a little bug in LinkedIn, but we are going to make it. And how are you feeling today, my friends? Happy to be with you. And let me check. Yes, at least we are live in YouTube. In LinkedIn, I think there is a little glitch on it. No, there is no glitch. We are also on LinkedIn. Yay! I was like afraid that LinkedIn having a bug, but we are live. And yes. So now we are ready to talk about his book, Les Ryan. I'm going to have a little pause for a drink. And then just a little bit off camera. And see you very soon. We are live again. Thank you so much for your patience. We are going to be ready. Ah. So, anyway, I have his book, Fearlessly Fluent Fast. And here is Les Ryan Johnson. And the first chapter is Think Like a Kid. And so there are subsections. Why can't I learn this? And then don't be afraid to make mistakes and stop overdoing it. That's the first chapter. And it's really interesting because we have to get back to the moment where we were a kid and to realize that we were doing things smoothly. Of course, we were failing a lot, but we were curious. And that's really important to open our curiosity, to ask questions. That was also something that I was learning from Les. To tap into my childhood, I was asking always a lot of questions, and I was not afraid. Probably late when I was a kid, yes, but I was not afraid. I was asking questions. There was no judgment, and it was the expansion phase when I was really learning a lot, and that every language a youngster learns is his or her own. Every kid take ownership of their new words and phrase, and so should you. That's in a nutshell. And so cool, cool, cool. Anyway, as we are waiting less to join, I'm going to again continue the exploration of the book. And what I like about Neuro Language Coach, because it's also about the brain, is that there are also practice. There is practice, and there is a context. So we should not too much go on the grammar, really. And also to let go of perfection. We need to let go of perfection, to test, to try, to be curious, to go like a kid, always curious and asking questions. And he was talking about the three myths in the book. And so the myth number one was children are better at learning a new language than adults. And of course, they are in the early phase of their development. But at the same time, it's up to us to get back to this state again. And it's about our fear. Yes, our fear to look stupid. That holds us back. Yeah. And then myth number two, you need to know all that grammar. No, just practice. That's important. Just practice, and you just need to know just a little bit, and then to test, practice, and then to know a little bit, and to practice. And then myth number three that I was seeing: learning a second language takes a real special skill. Sorry, I'm killing it. Sorry, I apologize. And it's not it's when we are a kid, we are learning different things without thinking, and we are blank slate. And so it's about practice, and it's a muscle. It's about being aware that there is a muscle. The brain is a muscle, And that's why in French we were calling the crosswords le sport cérébral, the brain sport. It's because it's like brain fitness. We are stretching our brain to find the words. And so it seems that I'm going to do it the first session on my own. I'm really sad, but I'm really there to honor his amazing book, and I'm going to also. Yes, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning. We need more mistakes. We need to create mistakes to be practicing more and more, and to gain new insights, to face our phobias, and also to demonstrate our bravery. That's really important. To encourage originality, to showcase our honesty, to make a difference by sharing our knowledge. Because there is also an important thing is that kids are telling others. We are telling others what we learn. And so that for that, we are learning even more, sharing into groups. And so it's really to go with the flow. So learning as a kid is the chapter one. Learn new next language as if you were learning as a kid on school. Think like a kid. Be curious. That's very, very, very important. Curiosity, to be willing to learn with curiosity. And so there are also some other tips to not translate in your head. It's also a challenge for me because I try also to, it's called scaffolding. We need sometimes scaffolding, but we can also scaffold using the target language, or we can scaffold using the model language. But it's really to find synonyms in the target language and to not being too much stuck in the grammar. And also learning through movement. Movement is so important in embarking our body, our heart, aside our brain, because our neurons are also outside of there are neurons outside our brain. They are present in the body. And also kids ask questions about everything. Everything. And then we are continuous learning by asking questions. And maybe we can ask questions to others. We can ask also powerful questions to ourselves. So, in the new language coaching, learning powerful questions are so important. So, when we are learning a language, learning it as a kid, asking questions, being curious, it's really important. And powerful questions are really part of that. And so I love also the visuals. Learn, think like a kid. Learn like a kid. That's the first chapter of the book. And of course, there are also other chapters, but the main one is the Chapter 1, Think Like a Kid. I'm just going to check if there are questions in LinkedIn Live. Thank you, Patricia, for your support. And for me, it's about making it. I'm a bit blessed because I was a bit late in the show. Probably I was thinking I was not making it, but it's done. I'm showing up and I'm talking about the first chapter. And probably next week, Les Ryan will be able to give us his amazing light for the next. So, hiya, Patricia. Indeed, I don't see any comments through restream. Normally they show the comments, but I acknowledge your presence, dear Patricia. Hi. And yeah, okay. If you have any question about the chapter 1, think like a kid. That's very important. I'm just going to check. Okay. So think like a kid and being curious, asking powerful questions. Powerful questions is part of the framework of Rachel that she called Pact PQC, that we are using to encourage and improve the learning phase through neuroscience and coaching. And powerful questions we can also ask to ourselves. Something that is I was learning many years ago was really amazing because it's probably not something that is in this session context, but I'm going to share this information. There is maybe you know Louise Hay, change your life, heal yourself, heal your life, and she was using affirmations, and affirmations are sentences that are linked to the future. There are things like, oh, I need to be more this, I need to be more that, and that's not affirmations. That's things that are tied to the problems that we have. And even if we are thinking, I need um, to be more brave, there is a subliminal link that I'm not. And of course, the affirmation is like, I am brave, I am abundant, I am incredible. And these are sentences, affirmations. But then someone was trying to get through that, her materials, and he was not doing it. He was trying all the stickies, he was doing his best, but he was not getting results. And then these kind of phases where we are in the shower in the diffuse mode, and he was struggling with the soap probably, and boom, he got idea. Why not? I turned the affirmations of Louis Hay through questions. And he was doing the affirmations. His name is Noah St. John, and he was turning into questions. So kids are questions, and they ask questions to others. Why the sky is blue? Why the roses are red? Why there are thorns on roses? They are asking, and probably it gives their parents, their teachers, all the people that are asking questions. It turns people nuts. Probably because we lost also the appetite, the thirst to be curious. Because we want to know. We want to know. And yes, it's important to embrace mistakes and to use languages that we have. I'm going to voice because I don't see the restream, the comment through restream. But thank you so much for supporting, Patricia. And next week, I cross my fingers that Les will be there. To be honest, my friends, I was like not present. I was, and then it was 11 a.m. There is a show. Let's do it. You know, so I'm on the fly. I'm doing it. I'm showing up, and I'm asking powerful question. How are you feeling today, my friends? How are you feeling today, my friends? And there are also powerful questions. How could you improve the learning of the language that you are learning? There are multiple ways. You can, of course, learn through books. You can also learn through practice. You can also learn by teaching, and you can teach to yourself. So I'm going now through the other chapters that I'm going to cover week after week. Use memory hooks, and that's the best that the brain can do is to make association. Neurons like to be connected to each others and to have metaphors. Like memory hooks, I got an example about questions, by the way, powerful questions. And it was like when I was secretary to remember all the details of an event, I was remembering the hook in French, QQ c'est occupé. And of course, it doesn't make sense like that, but it's like normally in English it's the W. Who, what, why, when, how, etc. And it's like qui, quoi, quand, comment, quand, pourquoi. These are the keywords in French for the questions. And it's like memory hooks. I was also learning hooks to see the position of the planet in the solar system. Like Soleil, Mercure, Vénus, Terre, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluton. I know that because I was remembering a key sentence a bit like crazy. I'm not going to do that because it makes me a bit like unforgettable to express the sentence I was using. But the most important is that I was learning the position of the planet. Of course, no, there is no P anymore according to the organization, because at some point they decided that Pluto is not anymore a planet. So memory hooks are really important. I'm going to just check the chat if there are any questions, by the way. So yeah, great. Teaching is very powerful for learning. Yes, some parents don't realize how powerful peer teaching is. Indeed, because it helps to learn. Also, we can also teach to ourselves, but anyway, by teaching to others, we are also allowing other brains to get back to us by asking us questions. So the chapter 2 was memory hooks, and the chapter 3, let me check because I was a bit like too far probably. Chapter 2, memory hooks, and chapter 3, say it loud. That's an interesting concept. Say it loud. Why to say it loud? Language, that's a quote from Gilbert Higet. Language is a living thing. We can feel it changing. Part of it become old, they drop off and are forgotten. New pieces bud out, spread into leaves, and become big branches, proliferating. And so it's about learning out loud. Speak it everywhere. Speak the language in every circumstance. Find every circumstance for you to speak the language. Like imitate what you hear. That's what Monkey does. And then chapter 4, bug the mess out of people. That's the chapter 4. And I wonder what it means. We will talk about that later. So, what makes us human, I think, is an ability to ask questions, a consequence of our sophisticated spoken. I think I lost also to the connection. So, mnemonics are important indeed, Patricia. And then, ooh, the chapter 5. Chapter 5 is learning from your favorite shows. Yes, watching your best TV series and having either the original version in the language that you are learning, like uh, actors that are translating with voice, or through subtitles. So, with your shows, and I will say also with music, like learning a language with the music of the artist of this language. That's the chapter 5. And then chapter 6, breathe in the language and culture together. Yes, using the culture of the country, of the language that you are learning. That's something that I'm going to add also as a nugget, is that there is not an only French from France. There is also French from Switzerland, French from Belgium, French from Montreal, Quebec, French from Africa. There are multiple Frenches. There are also multiple Englishes, multiple Portugueses, multiple Spanishes. And in Brazil, we don't speak probably the same pronunciation than in Spain, in Portuguese, Portugal. Portugal, boa noite. Brazil, you can also say boa noite, but sometimes we say also boa noite for the same spelling. So there are also other words that are used, like Montreal, Quebec, tuc, that is not existing in French. In Africa, compétir, that is not existing in France, Belgium, Switzerland. Same with the numbers. I have to be aware when I'm teaching to someone in Canada or in France or in Switzerland. 70 is 70. Here in Belgium, we are saying 70. So it's about the locality, the culture. And when we are immersing in the culture, even online, we can also immerse ourselves to the culture. That's important. And dive deeper into the world of language with, yeah, also it's the infomercial. Feel free to check the fluentbrain.me. He has a lot of things to show. And so that's the infomercial that I'm going also to share. We are on the 30 minutes of the show, and I am going to just check here. I'm not prepared, but the next chapter I will be prepared with all the things to show. So, my friends, Now we are going to the chapter 7. Keep your ears on. Always be listening to languages around you. That's also so important. Oh, yes. Because when we are in the street, when we are listening to the radio, maybe we can also take advantage to learning the language, the target language of our choice. That's also so important. So, music. Music is so important because we can learn language through listening to a song that is in French or in the language that you are learning. So, keep your ears on. That's also the chapter 7. I'm going now through all the chapters. I was talking about chapter 1, learn as a kid and being curious. And there it's about play it again and again and again loosely in the diffuse mode. You can also use your playlist and make it a loop. And defining your personality. What is your favorite music? Because there are also multiple types of music in the language that you are learning. And every opportunity to interact with people also, aside listening to music. And being ready to always be curious and summarize. And then chapter 8, how to stop procrastinating. That's my challenge right now when I'm learning a language. Why why do I say always tomorrow, later? Stop procrastinate. Do one thing every day that scares you. That's also something like wow. If you are scared, then you are in a position where you are stretching your comfort zone and you are really improving your neurons. And babies learn languages like ants eat elephant. Well, I don't know if they are really eating an elephant, but they are. Uh, I don't know if it's the best metaphor, dear Ryan. But so that's the procrastination will be week number 8. Culture and language go hand in hand, Patricia. Yes, thank you. And so, um, why do we put things off till the last minute? It's okay to procrastinate from time to time, it's not harmful. However, if you often put off studying and practicing your goal language because you are too busy procrastinating, it's time to do something. But first, let's examine some of the possible cause of your procrastination. That's amazing because it's about everything and it could be also about learning a language. So distractions are plenty, yeah, inappropriate settings when you are not really focused on a proper environment. Unknown objectives. You need to be clear, smart goal, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And then minimal effort for one's result, step by step. Don't put it too much. Failures in the past, yeah, that blocks us. That's why getting back to our kid vibes is important. Having a lot of tension or exhaustion, yeah, we need to be at ease. Perfectionism, yeah, fail it, fail it fast. Anxiety over becoming unsuccessful, that's the fear of the failure in the future. No, you can do it. Recognizing the difficulty in the job, various other concerns, and lack of drive. We need to have the fire. We need to have the flame. So that's about the chapter 7 about procrastination. I think chapter 7. And then was it chapter 7? No, chapter 8. Chapter 9. He was also sharing the methods for lightning fast fluency, like the light. And talking about the pimp slow method, the total physical response, the sing your song. I have also an anecdote is that I was teaching French to a friend, and she was asking her to be able and me to be able to sing the word in French, like abeille, papillon, and that to sing the word in French. And so, Patricia, thank you so much for your share. When I spent a year living in France, I used to have the TV in the background all the time. Well done, because then you are in the diffuse mode, and your subconscious is learning. Like it's extrinsic, there is intrinsic where you are focusing, and there is extrinsic learning, I think, when you are loose, and when we are you are letting your brain learning without any focus. And so that's also important, to go to the diffuse mode and chunking bit by bit. Like I don't like the elephant metaphor, because we don't eat an elephant, really, but it's like a mountain. We of course there is a helicopter, but the best way to go to the summit of the mountain is to go step by step, and of course it's long adventure. You have hours and hours of work to go to the mountain, but it's bit by bit, making a piece by piece, and perfection taking into consideration the time and resources available, indeed. Because if you want to learn French in it's like in 2 weeks, you can do it, of course, if you are doing 24/7. But you have to be aware about the resource and the time that you have. And so singing is important. It was also, of course, there is the Duolingo method. Any platform that is able to let you learn French. The muscle memory is also important. The idioms, special place in my heart too. The soul of the language, yeah. And so it's also important that I'm going to be talking in the next sessions. The word association, that's the scaffolding, and then chapter 10, the 5 fluent brain habits. That's important to have habits, because then you are learning language more efficiently. So learn a word a day and engage with Pimsleur. That's the first habit. Second habit, musical immersion with the song. It's incredible. And then incorporate physical movement while learning, and create TV shows designed for young learners. Yes, like the TV shows in your target language for kids, because the words are simpler. And then of course, coffee and cooking with coach. Hola. Oh, that I love it, because it's also about in embarking the smell when you are learning. You can learn by with scaffolding to different words in the language that you would like to learn. But if you associate also the smell, the sight, the taste, the touch when you are learning a language, that's incredible. So imagine the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the vivacious chatter in your new language surrounding you. And so imagine you are in, if you have the chance to have a city like in Brussels, when you have dozens and dozens of languages and cultures, you can go to cafes and also learn the language of your choice and associate the smell with the language that you are hearing in the cafe and that you are practicing on your own. The embarking your senses and your body. That's it. Then show, tell, volunteer, and vibe with the locals. Yeah, connect with the locals. You have certainly in your city someone who is talking with your target language. And if you have not, you can tap into Zoom. Zoom sessions, and go into the adventures. Adventures, it's really important. And so there are hacks that I'm going also to talk about with DLS. And then he was also in the book telling some references, the books that you can also use aside his book to learn the language, and using simple vocabulary. That's important. So I love so much to dive into this book. And why do I do this book club? It's also by teaching you, I'm learning. And for me, that's also the realization to become back a kid. And there is so much nuggets in there. And of course, the conclusion, we have this idea that children can learn better than adults. We think they have no problem with adding another language to their resume. But what's really the point to be made about children and adults learning a new language? When learning a new language, both adults and children have their own unique strengths and limitations. A controlled learning environment benefits adults more than it benefits children. So there are pros and cons to learn a language, being an adult and or being a child. So we are now at the end of this first chapter. Mr. Les Ryan hopefully will be in the chapter 2, and we will wrap up also chapter 1 with that. Thank you so much for watching. We are on the 41 minutes, and I'm going to make it short. And if you have any question, feel free also to dive into either the physical book. You have also the book in Kindle, I think. Feel free to tap in and to be also curious to the other chapters. See you next Wednesday, same hour. It's 11 my time, 11 a.m. my time. And thank you so much. Apologize for being the only one on stage. I will be more prepared. And see you the next session. Keep shining, and always be kind with yourself. Be kind with yourself. There are always voices on our head like, oh, I'm like, Les is not here. I will totally mess this session. It's about imperfection. Imperfection is also important when we are learning, because perfection comes not by magic. Perfection comes by trying again and again and again, by achieving. And so thank you so much, Patricia, for being live. Thank you also for the replay team, and see you next Wednesday for the chapter 2. This was Oli, Ravioli, and thank you also, Les, for driving me nuts with languages also, because Les is an incredible person. If you have the chance to connect with Les, do it, even online. He is so enthusiastic, and it's a blessing also to connect with amazing community of new language coaches that I was seeing in CGS. Patricia, Oriane, Rachel, of course, Les, and Edward, and also Phoebe, and I will probably like Federica. Like the next session will be with Les on Wednesday, but I have also a session in between on Saturday, a special session with Fede, about Italia, because to let you know that I was learning Italian in 2007, and the day after my last course in 2008, I was in Roma speaking in Italian in the bath, and I can also tell some languages. Mi chiamo Olivier, sono veramente felice di essere qui con Patricia e anche con le persone che vanno ascoltarmi sul replay. And that was my thing. My name is Olivier. I speak Italian. That's my passion language. Mi piace tanto parlare italiano. And in doing that, I am rekindling the brain part, the neural path of the language. And the most difficult language I had to learn was not French, was not Dutch, was not English, not Italian, not every language that I'm going to learn in future, like the fifth language will be Spanish. The most difficult language I have to learn is the language of my heart, to tap into my heart and to receive my heart's message and also my body message. That's the most difficult language. From that, I'm going to end the show and